This is The Elegant Oxford with your host, Preston Soto. I really don't get to work on many dress shoes by Gaziano and Girling here at The Elegant Oxford, so working on this pair was a real pleasure. These shoes were a beautiful garnet color, but the owner wanted something a little darker, with a slight marbling effect and a burnished toe, so I decided to dye them a deep brown mahogany color for some depth. Now, the garnet leather and the dark brown leather dye by Angelus combined to make a beautiful mahogany shade with some red in there, so I was pretty happy with the result. Whenever you work with dyes, it's best just to be patient. Sometimes once you apply it, it can look kind of ugly and unsightly for the first couple of minutes. Just be patient, let it dry, and then you can assess the situation and make sure it's what you want. This may seem counterintuitive since I'm actually dyeing the shoe, but once the leather dye has dried, I'm going to be using acetone and stripping some of it off so I can control the color a little bit better and to get the effect that I want on the leather. The burnished toe is achieved using black leather dye. Use your fingers and a rag for some control and rub it in there, making sure not to leave a hard line, but to go from a gradual dark to a light near the vamp. Okay, now that I've pulled off the rest of the leather dye with acetone, you can see that the bare leather underneath is permanently darker now, and this is exactly what I want. It's a blank canvas ready for some shoe cream and some wax, and it'll give off the right color. So I didn't want the dye to be on there the entire time. I wanted it to settle into the leather, and then I was going to remove the excess with acetone just to leave everything perfectly the way I wanted it. Since these are cap toe Adelaides, I'm going to be adding some darkening with black along the brogue lines all the way around the shoe, just for an added effect and for some breaking up of the colors. This marbling effect that's left on the leather once I remove the dye with acetone isn't permanent. It won't be as noticeable once I add shoe cream and wax, but it's going to be there as the base, and that's exactly what I want. Since the acetone left the leather very dry, it's time to add some moisture and to return those nutrients back into the leather. My go-to is Saphir Renovateur. That's my absolute favorite. If you've watched my videos, you know that I use it for almost every pair. Now it's important to use the appropriate color and shades using shoe cream. I don't want to use burgundy along the black lines, so I'm using black cream just to make sure everything's even and everything's colored incorrectly. Hermes Red is my absolute favorite. I'm sure you all know that by now, but it's going to add some of those red tones that I really like, just to kind of make sure the brown isn't too dull and to give it a nice color. And now the dark brown will go over the rest of the shoe just to mute the areas that I want muted, while the areas that I want to pop will pop. I'm using this method for mirror shines now. I found that it just works better for me all around. With your fingers, apply a lot of wax to the entire shoe, but concentrate on the toe cap. Add about 6 to 7 layers and wait 10 minutes before starting to buff with the water and the rag. Now that you've waited about 10 minutes, use small drops of ice cold water and buff the shoe going up in an up and down motion. Use less pressure than you think. You kind of want your fingers to glide over the wax, and don't add a lot of wax. Just touch the wax with your 2 fingers, and that'll be enough to add the right amount. So go back and forth, and then just touch the wax with your fingers and keep going with the water. And I found that this works really well. I've gotten mirror shines much quicker, and I found that it leaves a more mirror-like finish when done. I know I record a lot at my table, but when I'm really shining, I have to sit down and put the shoe over my lap. So here's the shoe on my lap, and there you can see my leather apron, and I'm going back and forth, touching the wax, getting tiny drops of water, and going back and forth, up and down, and producing that shine. Here's the before. The shoes were really pink, and overall I think the shoes look much better now. There's a darker, regal, more complex look to them. I really like the mahogany and the browns and the reds and the dark accents and the mirror shine. So overall I'm pretty happy with them, and I hope you enjoy them as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share for more content in the future. Make sure to check out my other videos as well if you'd like to learn more about shining your shoes. Look for me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Elegant Oxford for more. Remember to care for your shoes so that they'll last you for years to come. Always put your best foot forward. The small details matter most, so don't forget to hashtag shine your shoes. I'll see you next time.